Hey there, it's Pete with GCI Turf. I hope you're having a great day today. And about once a year, somewhere around Independence Day, sometimes it's before that, sometimes it's a little after. Right now it's a little bit after. July 4th was last week. And I'll do some maintenance on my crepe myrtles. Now, this is not a very invasive maintenance thing that I do. It's not crepe murder, not crepe rape. You know, I'm totally completely against that, where folks come in and butcher the crepe myrtles and whack them back to the nubs. I can't stand it. This thing is a tree. This is a notch-ass crepe myrtle. It's a tree. So we treat it as a tree. I mean, when you go in the yard, do you grab a guy's maple tree and whack it down 6 foot high? No, you don't. So you don't do crepe myrtles that way either, right? A lot of people do that out in the wide open, but I've found over the years that installers will plant wrong place. You know what I'm saying? What that means is they might stick a crepe myrtle right up against the house, not understanding or not realizing or knowing that this thing is going to get really big. It needs space. What happens is that tree grows up and it encroaches into the house, and then they end up having to cut it back. And most of the time they'll take a chainsaw and just whack it off and let it kind of re-go again. It drives me bananas. I can't stand it. So when I planted this crepe myrtle, it's about 18 foot off the corner of the house. So it has plenty of room to grow, fill out, and mature. And as you can see, it's a really, really big tree right now. So really in the winter time, I don't mess with them a lot. I may go in and thin out the canopy where there's branches crossing over, or you know, if you got one wild stray branch, I may cut it off. But this is my summertime maintenance. Let me show you what I do. So the blooms on a crepe myrtle get heavy. You know, this tree blooms profusely. I mean, especially if you feed it right, it will put off blooms, and sometimes they'll be that long, 12 to 18 inches long. And in the summertime, there's a lot of them. So the limbs want to hang down and kind of droop, and it loses its umbrella shape, I guess is a good way to word it. And that's the particular shape that I like for them to look like. So to fix it, it's super easy. We're gonna go inside the canopy, and we're gonna start from the inside of the canopy and work our way out from the bottom up. You never want to start from the top and go down, because you might cut something that doesn't need to be cut. So we always start at the lowest point and work our way up. Then we also start on the inside of the tree and work our way out. That way you're able to make a few cuts, step back, take a look at it, make sure you're not going to cut anything that's going to destroy the integrity of the overall look you're going for. I had a friend once that used to love wood carving. And he would take a block of wood, and you know, he would carve out a little miniature something or whatever it was he was working on. He would always tell me that you carve a little bit at a time and look at it. A little bit at a time and look at it. Because once you carve that wood off, you can't put it back. Okay, the same thing applies to the crepe myrtle. Once you cut a branch off, you can't put it back. It's got to grow back. So that's why we want to do this slowly and take a little bit off at a time. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at the canopy of the tree, and I'm looking at this bottom edge right here. That's the limbs that are kind of hanging out, hanging down. And what I'm looking for is the highest point, okay? You see over here in the corner, they're hanging down quite a bit lower than they are right here in front of the camera. So I'm gonna use this point as my reference point, okay? I'm going to use the highest point to start off with, and then I'm going to take the low stuff off, bring it up so that it all lines up, so it all matches up evenly. And the end result, I'm looking for somewhat of an umbrella shape. You know, at the bottom of the umbrella, how it's nice and level and nice and even and flat at the bottom. That's kind of what I'm going for right here. So I'm going to take my kamikazes. You know, we used to have these on the website, but we just didn't move a whole lot of them, so we don't have them on our website anymore. But I'll link them up in the description below, and you can get 20% off on these things. That's a crazy discount code. You know, most times we can't get but 10%. These things are razor sharp and they cut super easy. Look at that. That's all I cut off, is those two little tiny pieces of branch. And did you see how the limb bounced up? That little bit of weight is all it took so that bounced up, and now it's even with the rest of this side over here. If you can see, I'm not doing a lot with the outer edge. What I'm cutting off from the inside that's kind of hanging down a little bit lower, that's actually causing the whole outside perimeter to kind of bounce up a little bit. That's really all it takes. Now I'm gonna jump over here to the left side. I've got this one little chunk that's kind of hanging down on its own. I'm gonna clean it up, and then all I have left is that side over there. Okay, so looking at this, I can actually take this entire branch off right here, and that will actually accomplish my goal in one cut. But the branch is a little bit too big for my kamikaze, so I'm going to grab something else in a minute, and we'll do this one a little bit later. Here's a perfect example of why you should start on the inside of the tree. There's a ton of foliage on this one branch. As I cut it, I want you to watch it go higher and higher and higher, because the weight is coming off of that branch. So I'm just trying to stress this point that I don't have to just go in here and start whacking everything off. I can go in here and individually snip strategically certain branches, and as you do that, the entire limb of the tree is going to start to raise up, and that way I'll get, at the end of the day, I'll get my end game goal. What I'm looking for is that uniform canopy. So all these are on the inside right here, and as I'm cutting them, you can see it start to raise up. Look at that, just a few cuts, I've already opened that hole up right there. And this section right here is pretty much even with everything else. When I get right here, I've run into another really big branch. Now I have a kind of a defining moment. Do I want to go in and take this entire branch off, or do I want to nip it a little bit and see if I can maintain the integrity of that branch by only taking a little bit off at a time? So let's try it that way first and see what it looks like. If it don't look right, we'll come back and take the whole branch off. Now these branches are getting a little big, and I'm having to really squeeze down and really work my forearm to cut this. Some of these are as big around as my thumb, so I'm gonna go get something to make the job a little bit easier. word of warning, this is extremely easy. This makes the job just crazy easy. Don't get carried away and cut too many branches. Now when I get back here and look, you can see my canopy is pretty much nice and even now, and that crepe myrtle is looking really good. Notice how I've exposed some of the trunk up under the tree. You can really see that good now, but I've still got that one big branch over there. Let's go over there and knock it out really easy. Woo! That one was pretty big. It actually took me a few cuts. That's actually probably a little bit too big for this, but I used it anyway and it worked good. Probably should have used loppers on that, but worked all right. So let me show you right here just how good these things work. This branch right here is about the size of a pencil, a number 2 pencil. No problem. I'm gonna get up here. This one is about the size of my pinky, the diameter of my pinky. No problem. We go down here. This one's probably about the diameter of my thumb, roughly. No problem. And this portion right here is probably bigger than my thumb. Let's see what it'll do. Wow, that's game-changing stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you. I am actually really impressed by how easily that cuts. That's pretty insane right there. Someone that prunes a lot with their hand pruners all day long, maybe a lawn care company or something, game-changing stuff right there. So you can see my crepe myrtle now is looking as good as I can make it look. I love the way it's kind of evened out and flattened out around the bottom of the canopy. Now late summer, when this thing is has even more blooms on it, if they begin to hang down again a little bit, I'll just come in there and nip them off. So there's 2 ways this thing comes. This is a KP 295 and this is the KP 280. You can look on the website and, you know, go back and forth between the cutting power and the diameter of cutting and all that. Basically, there's not a tremendous amount of difference in it. The 295, the battery's going to last just a little bit longer. You're going to be able to cut a little bit bigger branch. The 280, I think, is kind of, they had the homeowner in mind. It is a little bit cheaper, but it does come with considerably less options, and that's what I want to show you is the difference right off the bat. For the no more difference in price than it is, I like the 295 hands down. So the 280 basically looks just like the 295. It's missing the little black accents right here. As far as the physical size of it, they're basically identical. Both systems come with 2 batteries and a charger, and one cool thing about this charger is if you decide this is something you're going to jump on and you want to pick up an extra battery, and, you know, let's say you use them all day long pruning out in the field or whatever, and you want to keep spare batteries, the charging port or the charger can actually charge 3 at one time, so that's pretty cool. Comes with a sharpener to sharpen the edge, keep it nice and clean, and some oil and a few tools, a blade changing tool to change the blade. And you basically insert it, hold down the power button. Now this does not have a display on the back, a digital display where the 295 does. And once you hold the power button down, you hear it beep. You want to press the trigger twice, and that's what activates it and opens it. And as you pull the trigger, it's instant. I mean, it's absolutely, look at that, look at how responsive that is. Now the other one has a second cutting feature, and I'm gonna see if this one will do it too. You hold the trigger down for a couple of seconds. Yep, did you hear it beep? Double tap it. So one's continuous and one's non-continuous. So if I squeeze the trigger, it's going to close the blade all the way like that. And let's hold the trigger down for 2 seconds again. Hear it beep. Double tap to open it. And now this one, nope, actually I don't think this does it. You might want to read the website description just to make sure, but it doesn't seem like this one has that second feature. So the way you power it off is you hold the power button down. But now here's a word of warning: wherever this blade is set, when you turn it off, that's where the blade's going to stay. So I like to close the blade, then turn it off, and now the blade stays closed. And of course you can just pop your battery out and store it however you want. Now for the 295, and my favorite thing about the 295 is I get a carrying case. I really like that feature quite a bit. Not only is the tool itself a little stronger, battery's going to last a little bit longer, that kind of thing. You get this cool carrying case. Same 2 batteries, or 2 battery options. The batteries are a little bit stronger. Same thing with the charging cord, 3 charging outlets, and you get a nice little cool case that comes with a couple of things of oil, some tools, a sharpening stone for the edge, blade changing tool, and you know, like I said, your oils and grease to keep this thing lubed up. Now this one's really cool because it's got a digital display screen. So when you hold the power button down and you turn it on, it gives you battery life and a couple other numbers on there. You can read on the description on the website and see what all that stuff is. Again, double tap it to activate it. Here's one. This is the second feature I was telling you about. You can see the blade follows the trigger. You know, however hard you depress the trigger, that's what the blade does. And then you want to hold the trigger down for 2 seconds, get a beep, and then double tap to activate it, and then that's your continuous. So no matter how much you hit it, the blade is going to automatically close and open all the way. Whatever you do, please do not get your finger caught in this thing. It will cut it slam off. So again, coupon code will be in the description below, 20% off the battery powered hand pruners or anything in the Easy Cut store. Hopefully this has showed you a little bit about, you know, basic crepe myrtle maintenance and how I like to maintain them. And you know, to me, that's just a good looking tree. The shape of it, the aesthetics of it, this is just the way that I like for them to look. So if you like for them to look about the same way, that's how you do it. As always, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch. I'll check you later. And again, watch your fingers. You will need them at some point in life.